All right. So we just started. Hey
Hey
guys.
guys, what's up, everyone?
All right. So we're gonna talk about music starter packs. Like these are the essentials that everybody should check out, and like you know, just get into these types of things.
I
So
absolutely agree.
so
You know,
when I was a freshman, I only listened to a lot of like what's it called, like hip hop and like mainstream, like Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Kanye, like all
type
mainstream
shit.
like hip hop. But like after that, I met one of my like I started talking to one of my close friends, and like he
Robin.
recommended to me, yeah, Robin, shout out to Robin. He
Shouts out
recommended
Robin.
to me like a couple bands, and the bands that I started off listening to were Radiohead, um what else we got? Big Star, Black Sabbath.
That's really early stuff. Big
Yeah,
Star,
yeah,
Black
and
Sabbath too.
Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath's like a whole other fucking podcast.
Yeah,
Just
because
like
Black
talk
Sabbath
talk
it
about
gets you
metal.
into metal, and metal
Gets
is
you into metal.
just a
Just a
great
whole
genre. It's a
other
huge genre that
amazing
not
It
a lot of
is.
people talk
set
about.
of set of
It's something
colors.
that I touch upon here and there just when I'm in the mood for it. That's just my personal thing. Like I know about metal, but it's not something I go out listening to
Right.
every day or every week.
Yo,
I'll listen to it on occasion, but I do. I love metal. I do.
man, metal is like nostalgic to me. I like grew up on Metallica and like Black
You
Sabbath
did,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
like
Metallica
and
is
like
You're
another
you're a,
Megadeth.
huge
you're
one.
Like,
a
bro,
huge
That is an
Metallica guy.
essential
like
right
I
there.
used to be like a fat
Megadeth,
metalhead. So like
Iron Maiden,
just exactly Judas
like
Priest
Judas
and stuff like
Priest,
that.
Judas
Yeah.
Priest, yeah.
Judas Priest is super important. But like early Judas Priest is a little whack. Screaming for Vengeance, 1982, fucking awesome. And then like as I got older, I kind of stopped being pussy, and then like I started listening to like Burzum, like Mayhem, and like Dark
Yeah,
Throne
so
and Death,
black metal. Black
just
metal
like
is
black
a
metal.
very interesting genre because
Hell yeah,
like it starts around like it honestly starts around the 90s. Like sure you got the first wave of black metal in like the 80s, but like you
yeah,
start getting more notable bands around the 90s. Like in the
yeah,
80s, how you
Yeah.
said before, Celtic Frost, you had Venom, you had Bathory.
yeah.
Like those are hard.
Hellhammer, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, like that's like heavy metal, black metal, like early
Yeah,
black
it's
metal.
that that's that first wave
But yeah,
black metal that like inspired like
but
you
that
know
modern
yeah,
like long
King Diamond
atmospheric sound, yeah, those are yeah. But so like what we're saying, like there's these essential bands that everyone should check out, like Radiohead.
type.
Yeah, I
I feel
mean,
like there's so many like rankings of like essential bands. There's like the classic rock bands I feel like everybody should listen to. That's like like Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles, the Doors,
right,
Rolling Stones, the Who, Led
right, the
Zeppelin,
classics, the
Pink
basics.
Floyd. Those are like
Those are the
that's the
biggest
basics.
artists, some of the biggest
You know,
artists of all time that
like
everyone
if
should
you need
check
to
out.
get into music, like starter packs, I guess like Pet Sounds, Beach Boys, Sgt. Pepper's, Beatles, Dark Side of
Yeah,
the Moon,
you know
Pink
the
Floyd. Like
albums.
that's like basic music principle. Like if you want to get into like the history of music,
I'm
like
guessing
that.
that's what you
Well,
got
history.
into, right? Like those are the bands that got you into other
That's
bands.
how I kind of got into it. Like
That's the
I had
basics,
like
right?
exactly like when I was in middle school, I was like, it's kind of like when I was in middle school, like my music was like random 80s pop music, and then like kind of evolved into like
How
ACDC, and then
random 80s
ACDC.
pop music?
Yeah, like I would listen
How
to
was
like
that?
random like just random songs from the 80s that like don't really
Oh, okay,
matter.
okay,
Like
okay.
like
You just have
like
those
just
bangers.
like just like those like 80s songs, like
Hmm.
I had the tiger, like I was like listening to stuff like
I
that
get
because I
that.
didn't know better. So and then that
It's
led
not a
into
bad
like
way to start.
yeah, yeah, and then that
You
led
like the
into like
songs. You like the songs.
ACDC,
Yeah,
and then
everyone has their own
ACDC.
sort of way to
Yeah,
start.
Yeah.
And
Okay. What's
exactly.
your start? Like, how did you get into?
well,
Like,
I
what's
mean,
some
you
of the
guys
basic bands that got you into other bands and other genres that you love right now and you listen to?
well, you guys kind of know about like how I was brought up on music. I was brought up on music when I was younger. I was raised Rastafarian, and then I had a lot of hip hop, and I had a lot of reggae, I had a lot of Junior Gone Marley, I had Wu Tang, I had Outkast, I had Burning Spear,
Okay, so
and
hip hop
then
and reggae were like your starting
yeah, pretty
music
much,
essentials for you.
and then that was with like my mom, and then with my grandmother, I had a lot of Stevie Wonder, Miles Davis, Charles Mingus, and
That's
stuff
cool,
like
actually.
that.
Okay.
That's actually
So
super cool.
And then once I because I know, and I also didn't grow up with like TV, so I the way I kind of looked at music was kind of like the way people look at watching a show.
all right.
Like when you marathon a show,
You
I
marathon
like
an
I
artist,
marathon
music or something.
an album, and
Discography.
like
Right.
yeah, like I naturally when I was younger was like, oh, I like this song. I like the art of storytelling by Outkast. Let me listen to all of
It's
Aquemini.
a
Right,
great fucking
right.
song.
So
It's a
like
way to
So
start.
we all
You
like
started cool.
we all started somewhere. We're clearly
You
music
see,
fans, but like if you're trying to get
yeah,
into music, these are what you should be listening to. The
yeah,
thing is, at least I think, everybody should at least check out some of the biggest bands that everyone's talking about, or have like left an impact on pop culture.
definitely look at
That
the
I
albums
feel
and the
like
bands and the
I
artists
feel like
that like define a genre.
that's
So
sometimes I
it's
feel like some
that
of the
define a
best
genre.
artists of a genre aren't even like the biggest artists of that genre. Because
Oh, of
like
course, yeah.
people could talk about like alternative rock and be like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana, that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then like be like, and then I'm just over here like Husker Du, Dinosaur Jr., Pixies, Sonic Youth,
Alternative, right? Yeah,
like the
that's alternative
Smiths,
music.
because like that's how I kind of view alternative rock. Because like I don't know, I feel like there's like the beginner side, like Foo Fighters, Green Day, like
Right, yeah.
Nirvana, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pearl Jam, all those
And
type of
those are great
bands.
bands, but
Those are all great
So what
bands,
about
but like
it's always good to know like the
it's always good
roots.
to go deeper.
It's good to spread out. Good to spread
Just
out.
like Meat Puppet, Sebada, Archers of Low,
Something I
stuff like
noticed, at
that.
least personally from my experience,
Just
I've been
more
talking
outlaws.
to some music fans, and they only like to touch upon one side of music, like how
Just hip
Leo
hop.
was talking about. He grew up with reggae and hip hop. I think all of that goes together, like R&B, soul, jazz,
You
world,
know,
Afrobeat, all of that, even Latino music, like salsa music, all of that
type shit.
goes together. That's one side of music. Then
You know,
there's like the basic like rock bands and basic what do you call it, like alternative, prog rock, even electronic, all of that. That's another side of music. So what I'm trying to say is there's music's divided. So
I feel that.
a lot of music fans are divided,
Hold
and
on, let me get
people
you with
like
this
us,
one thing.
yeah, okay,
Can I get you with this one thing?
right,
I've been wanting to say this. Like when I was younger, I used to I'm gonna call myself out on this. I used to be like straight up like a rockist. Like all I liked was like rock music, like all rock music or metal. Like I didn't fuck with like R&B or rap or jazz or like electronic music. Like I would be like that shit's weird. Like I didn't fuck with it. Like I didn't even like I
Same
didn't
with me. Same
understand.
with me.
Like I didn't
I was
understand
on
hip
a whole
hop
different side.
until yeah, but the thing is, it's like you're funny. Like when you were like a little kid, you were like listening to classic rock, and then when like you were in
Yeah,
middle school, early high school, you were
started
listening to
listening to
like
hip hop,
trap,
like
hip
trap,
hop.
all that
You
side
see,
of music.
I didn't have that. Like when I was a little kid, I used to really fuck with Eminem, and then that was really it. And then like I got into rock, and like that's all I really cared about. And then from like rock, I kind of like when I was like a sophomore, I kind of like started opening up more, and then like I ain't even gonna lie, started listening to like Logic, and then the NWA movie came out like when I was a
Oh,
freshman,
okay.
when it was like when
Like
I was going into my
2015.
freshman year. So
Yeah.
like I remember seeing the Straight Outta Compton movie and being like, that's dope. I kind of want to listen to them. I respect them, and then just getting into NWA and like fucking with like Straight Outta Compton, the
That's an
album.
important group, by the way. Super important.
And I ain't even gonna lie, I was just and then like that like got me listening to like Public Enemy and then like Run DMC and like Beastie Boys, like that early '80s shit. I wasn't really like
Slick
listening to
Rick.
like Tupac. I wasn't listening to like Tupac or Mobb Deep or like nothing like that, Like I was listening to like Logic and like Tyler the Creator and like Kendrick.
Hip hop's
Like
such a young genre.
by the time I was
It's
sophomore,
really
like
young.
yeah, it really is like compared to all these other genres.
So interesting to see how far hip hop has come in the 40 years.
Hip hop and rock kind of have like the same like history in a way.
Sort of.
Sort. It kind of all like I don't know. It
Hip
kind of was
hop
like an
comes
underground thing.
from Jamaica, honestly. Like the man who invented hip hop, DJ Kool Herc, invented, is a Jamaican man or from Jamaican descent.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, so
Was
I
he
don't
from?
want to
Was
go
he
into the
from? Look,
history.
wait. Was he from Jamaica? Like born in Jamaica, or like he's like American with like Jamaican
That
parents?
I need a fact check. I think he's from Jamaican descent. I'm
I
not.
think DJ Kool Herc is like from New York type shit. Like I
Yeah,
think he's
he's
one of
from
those
New
like
York.
I think he's
That
like one of
makes
those
sense.
Africa Bombata
Because
dudes
even
from like the
The idea, like
Northeast.
the idea of the hip
because
hop
even Dolomite, who's one
sound.
of the godfathers of hip hop, he's a comedian and he was from New York. I'm almost
That's
positive he
cool.
was from New York.
That's cool.
It has a lot of
Yeah.
Jamaican influence. I'll say that.
Yeah. Just like hip hop like took like a huge like part of my life when I like became 16 because started hanging out with my boy Rick. Shout out to Rick. Fuck with you, Rick. You my homeboy, my OG, my brother. Love you, bro. He just opened my horizons and had like taught me about this beautiful, wonderful world of hip hop music. And then from hip hop music, I started listening to more jazz. I started listening to more like
Right, the other side of
um
music that I'm talking
just
about.
just more just
Yeah.
more R and
You
B,
expanded on
more
that.
like more electronic
I'd say
music.
that's African American side of music, or I'd even say just African.
Yeah, just more African American
African,
music.
yeah.
I would say it's African American because like I don't know
It's
like when I
international though. It's an
when I think
international sound.
African music, when I think African music, I think of like Tumani Diabate or like Baba Mal, and like
Okay, yeah,
like people
yeah,
from
yeah.
actually born
Africa,
in Africa.
Africa, yeah, yeah.
Like I feel like it's important to recognize that like jazz, blues, R&B, hip
That's
hop
African American.
is significantly African American. It is
Yeah,
that music is brought up from the history of African American culture and the struggle type shit. Like
right.
it's brought up through that culture. It's not African culture, it's African American culture. I really appreciate African American music. It's fucking super important to like my musical like come up and like
Experience.
education and like
Yeah, because you said
I remember getting into like Marvin Gaye
you
and like Stevie
slowly got
Wonder
into
and
it.
like
What made you
Isley
slowly build
Brothers.
up into that?
Um, I just started fucking with Stevie and I
For me,
was
it
like
was
fucking
just
with
like a open-mindedness, and I was already a musician
yeah.
to begin with, and I was
Yeah, for me,
let me
it
get
was
into
like
more.
an open mindedness. It
See,
was an
yeah,
open
type
mindedness
shit.
just because it was like watching TV. It was
It's like
also
watching
because
TV. It's like let me
Type
get
shit.
into more
for
stuff.
It's
me it was
I
cool.
like
literally
it.
just
Let me get
watching
more of it.
TV.
It's just cool getting into that other side of like this other culture, like listen to like Sly and the Family Stone and like listen to like Parliament Funkadelic. Like I remember like being like
Right.
16, getting into Parliament Funkadelic, like listening to like Marvin Gaye, what's
Shit's
going
cool.
on, songs in the key of life. Like that's what I was really bumping at 16. Like I remember being 16 and like getting super into like Gorillaz. Well, I've been into Gorillaz since I was like 14, 15, but like, I was super
Yeah.
into Gorillaz still 16 and like Brockhampton and Tyler and like Tame Impala, Mike DeMarco, and then I had like this like whole thing of like R&B music of like Curtis Mayfield, like I said, like
Smokey
fucking
Robinson.
Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson and
That's
the
a very
Miracles
good
and
guy.
Temptations
Miracles.
and just all that early Motown music, just learning about all that R&B and as well as like learning about like hip hop and Tribe Called Quest and
Yeah.
Mobb Deep and Tupac and Biggie and just like the history of New York boom bap and G Funk. I fucking love The Chronic by Dr. Dre.
That's essential.
It's a fucking amazing
That's an
album.
essential.
Like I think Dre is what kind of made me get into funk because like I was listening to The Chronic and like a lot of The Chronic was just like that G
So
Funk
you
shit.
didn't
It was
listen
like
to funk before
I think I
before the
was.
time.
I think I was. But no, actually, I remember listening to like The Chronic first, and then I listened to
Right.
Parliament Funkadelic, and then I heard the Let Me Ride sample, and I was like, oh shit, like I was so like fucking mind blown by that,
Okay.
and then I started listening to more Parliament, and I listened to Funkadelic, and as well like Stevie Wonder and Curtis Mayfield and all these dudes, and then that just keeps growing. Like I just keep like finding other little acts here and there, like Leroy Hudson, The Impressions,
Yeah.
just listen to like Aretha's 60s music is good. That's like more of that like doo-woppy stuff. But like Aretha, she really popped off in the 70s when she started doing
Yo,
like
so
disco and funk. Like that was
from the
fun.
60s and the 70s, that transition from like that doo-woppy to that
Yeah, dude.
soulful, you know, funky, groovy, that sound, that new Motown sound.
You know what I think is cool? Like, I
That
feel
was
like
definitely such a cool transition.
in
Yeah,
American
I like
music,
I
in
like to
the
talk about
like in the here's how I kind of see it. Like in I don't know if it's weird to put it like this. Like in white music, like American British music, there was like a whole new revolution of British and American bands, Beatles, Stones, The Who,
this new rock,
Jimi Hendrix, just all this new rock
hard
stuff
rock,
coming out. And I
psychedelic
feel like
rock. All
yeah,
that.
and I feel like all these bands kind of coming out kind of inspired all these like black musicians. Like oh like shit, they're doing some
To
dope ass shit. Like I feel like when Jimi
improve their
Hendrix came out
sound or evolve
I
their
f-
sound.
type shit. I feel like
I
when
get what you
Jimi
mean.
Hendrix came out, like all these like I feel like black musicians were like, this dude snapping. Like I really genuinely believe that like Jimi Hendrix is such like a huge part in like the creation of funk and like that hard funk soul.
Oh,
Even though
Yeah,
he was
definitely.
yeah,
like
yeah,
more
yeah.
of like a psychedelic player, but like I
Just with
think
his
Jimmy
appearance, it was
exactly,
such a
exactly.
revolutionary thing.
Exactly, just like the way he looked and the way he rocked the guitar and the way he felt it. Like that is such like I feel like that inspired like Sly Stone and like
So you're
Parliament and
saying
all
Jimi
that.
Hendrix was very important part
I
in this
feel
transition of
I feel like the whole psychedelic era of the '60s, like in the Woodstock, is a good chunk why R&B music in the '70s it sounded the way it did because it was inspired by that psychedelic sound. So like you would
I have a
see,
feeling that jazz music had a big ass
oh
part to
yeah,
play in
oh
like
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
oh
you
for
know
yeah.
sure.
that
You see
transition. Also the
like you can
civil
see
rights movement. So
oh, for sure. Like you can see like
like there's a post
Temptations going psychedelic. You can see like fucking like the Miracles of Smokey Robinson kind of becoming hippie. Like you can see like Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder like loosening up and like
so it's the
like
psychedelic sound, that
they're changing their
inspired.
look up. They're becoming one of the time.
Mhm,
They're accepting that counterculture.
mhm.
Yeah, especially for I just kind of want to touch upon Stevie when it comes to that. When Stevie started doing that, and then going into the '80s, it was interesting to
Soulful
see
stuff.
that
Yeah,
go into like albums like In Square Circle with like he's going with that sort of like
I
new
can't
sort of
I
production
can't
type. It was so cool. I love
I
In
can't.
Square Circle. Steve,
I'm not.
Songs in the Key of
I'm
Life
not
is
even
my
gonna
favorite album of all
lie.
time. But In Square Circle is awesome.
I'm not even gonna lie, dude. Like
Good pick.
I didn't really like I don't really like 80s Stevie. I feel like 70s Stevie is
Okay,
like
how come?
superior. And then like 80s Stevie, like it's
Oh,
so weird.
70s
Like
Stevie is definitely superior. Like that's
oh
Yeah,
dude,
yeah,
classic.
yeah,
But
yeah. I think
80s Stevie, like don't like it's still it's Stevie just coming with
no,
this new sort of
you know,
production. Of course, it's
it's that
awesome, but
it's that new
it's
sort of
not 70s
production.
Stevie, but it's
It's
cool.
that ballad production and stuff like that. Like it's kind of crazy to see like Stevie Wonder from go to like this jazzy funky dude and then like he's like doing love ballads like
okay, I
I
see what you
just
mean.
call
Yeah.
No, I
Tuesday.
get you.
It's like he's just
That's the
like kind
thing.
of like
There's a lot of
yeah.
hate towards like those sorts of ballads
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
in
I'm just not
music.
really into
like the
ballads.
those people who hate will listen to Part Time Lover in the radio station and be like,
I mean, I kind of
Part
get why
Time Lover.
there's
I don't even know
so
what that
many other
is.
types of music that you could be listening to that's that sort of sound that you could
No, yeah, of
get
course.
into.
R&B music is wonderful. Jazz music
R&B
is
music's
wonderful as
wonderful.
well.
60s
You
and
know,
70s era is a great time for music.
yeah, like that
Yeah,
70s like funk
for
R&B
all.
sound. That was so important to like the like early hip hop. Like James Brown was like the early
Okay, that's like
like
50s.
everybody
Yeah.
it's like everybody sampled James Brown, like everybody sampled
James
like
Brown
Curtis
is super
Mayfield
important.
or Isaac Hayes. Isaac Hayes is another big dude
I
that
like to
we
say
did
like,
not
James Brown is
touch
like the first like Prince or
rapper
Michael
like
Jackson,
type shit.
like
Yeah.
big pop
That
like
big
black,
yeah,
like
for sure.
idol.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's the
Like
50s. That's the thing. The
people
50s is when music started becoming what it is today. Like that's the first like
right.
wave of modern music sound.
It's
Anything
all
before
Yeah,
that is
it's all World War II,
considered
baby.
classic. It's kind of what led onto
Yo,
what the 50s
and
started.
like and
That
it's
makes
all World
sense.
War II, baby. World
It's
War
all
II
World
is the
War
reason
II. That's some
this is the
history right
reason why
there.
we got pop music. This is the
Let's
reason
go
why,
into some
because
history.
America became that fucking big boom shit, and they got all that money, and then fucking teenagers, you know, started
Okay.
being able to go out, get their own start of fashion, you know, have their own culture. You know, like in the 50s, there was greasers, there was fucking like dudes on motorcycles doing their thing, and like they were buying records. Record companies were like selling records to teenagers, being that like the fucking consumer, you know, and that's what inspired pop music to grow and grow. That's why we have Elvis Presley. That's why we have a James Brown. That's why we had all of that, you know, because it was all aimed at teenagers and stuff like that. Teenagers are very, very important to musical culture and pop music and rebellion and all of that stuff. And alternative
Teenagers
lifestyle.
are the biggest market when it comes to music.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But if you're gonna make music, you kind of have to, you know,
you have to aim at the teenagers.
You have to aim at the teenagers. There's
I'll say young adults. Young adults. For sure.
Young adults.
Young
There's
adults.
a whole age group. Yeah, young adults. But
I'd say from like the ages of like 12 to like 29.
Or even 30.
Or 30.
I would say like
30s.
12 to like early 30s for sure.
Yeah,
I feel like once you hit like 36, you don't give.
I'll stay safe and say 12 to 35.
Yeah.
I'll just stay safe and say that.
Yeah. I hope I always give a fuck about music.
Like after that, it's just like adult contemporary. Like, how do you feel about that sort of music?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a lot of commercial music.
I always hope when I'm older, I'm always going to be like in touch with music. Like always know what's the newest hot shit coming out.
Yeah.
But I don't even.
That.
No, I really want to do that too.
And sometimes, to be honest, like nowadays, like right now, like who I am, like I don't even give a shit who's coming out right now. And it's like fuck. I used to care about like the newest, hottest artists. That's why I used to fuck with bedroom pop a little bit. That's like
that's the new sound.
Because like I remember listening to
It's becoming the new sound for sure.
No, but like I remember listening to bedroom pop and I was like, oh, like these are like really talented songwriters who actually write good songs. Sure. They really do. It's just it's kind of a repetitive. It's a repetitive style of music. It's fair. A lot
I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of times.
A lot of music.
You know,
a lot of music is fucking repetitive.
You could say about like glam rock, not glam rock, maybe like that hair metal, you know.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is.
Soft rock in the 80s, like that was a really repetitive.
Yeah, music's always repetitive, but
even synth pop.
Now I just kind of like go back. I just always try to like
go back and
in the past and try to see like the best older music because it's
I know that. But
because there's so much old music.
There's reasons to go back, but I think there's more reasons to just find out more about music now. Like
for sure.
Genres. You could find out, like how I said, music's divided. Music's honestly divided by cultures. So you have to be open-minded when it comes to music, at least if you want to get into it. You have to try to listen to different sounds and see what other countries and other areas, locations in the world are coming up with. Like,
obviously,
you don't have to listen to world and international music. It's a good, you know, genre.
I've been listening to world music. World music's fucking tight.
It's cool. It's just you could listen to, you know, things that in England, you know what sorts of movements are over there. Like you see lots of hip hop, like
grime.
You know,
drum and bass,
a lot of electronic music.
Hell yeah!
England's
got a huge
like IDM, intelligent dance music. That's a huge genre in Europe.
England's got a huge electronic scene.
There's an alternative rock scene. All those scenes, you gotta, you know, see what's going on. It's happening right now. You just gotta find out.
Even in the past, but even in the past, like it's dope to learn about like it's dope. Like I fucking love Britpop. Like I absolutely love Britpop. I love Pulp. I love Blur. I love fucking Oasis. I fucking love even older shit. I love The Cure. I love Jesus and the Mary Chain. I love I love The Smiths and you know, all these other fucking bands. You know, all those classic British bands.
The thing is, like.
That shit's important. The Clash, Joy Division, like all that shit's important.
London Calling by The Clash is one of the most important albums of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny because I was just thinking about the year 1979. 1979 is probably one of my favorite years for music.
1977.
I was about to say,
1977, yeah, for sure. 1979 is kind of just one that I love.
So
like, bro, Raw Power,
Talking Heads,
Television,
Television.
Fleetwood Mac,
David Bowie, Fleetwood Mac.
David Bowie. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just to name
So
a few.
much,
Just to name a few.
so much dope shit.
1977 is a
dope
year
shit.
I'd recommend. Just search up on Google. You know, popular
Just
album.
like Elvis Costello.
Honestly, like Elvis Costello. Yeah.
Elvis Costello is fucking amazing. He's one of those early
early
alternative,
indie
just like punk inspired, just British dudes who just snapped on that shit. He was like an early, like he had that early Mac DeMarco energy. Like I don't know, like if you guys know what I mean.
I know exactly what. That's why I said like that indie rock. You know, early indie rock.
Just like
solo
exactly
projects, like you know.
Exactly.
Solo
Just like
performances.
exactly. But I mean, it was Elvis Costello and The Attraction.
And
but, you know,
but
Elvis Costello was the star.
he was
you know?
exactly.
And then there's like other amazing British acts like the Specials, and then there's Dexys Midnight Runners, and then there's obviously Gorillaz and Massive Attack, and fucking Portishead's English,
that's
right?
a whole.
Portishead, yeah. I'm pretty sure Portishead is English.
Okay.
Someone fact check that. But like, and then there's like everything.
I'll look it up right now.
And then there's like a bunch of amazing just British groups out there that just inspire amazing music. The Beatles, obviously, David Bowie, T-Rex.
Yeah, they're English, Portishead.
Portishead's English?
Yeah.
So I really would have hated if, like I said, Portishead was English in there.
No, I was pretty sure that they were English. So
yo, that first Portishead album is just great.
That's a great album.
I love like my Bloody Valentine. I don't know where Cocteau Twins is from. I think they're English. Not sure. They're dope.
Cocteau Twins, I'm actually not sure, but I love Cocteau Twins.
I think
Las Vegas is such.
I think they're like a British French group. I think they're British and French or something.
Right.
I think the singer isn't the singer singing French.
They're Scottish. They're Scottish.
They're Scottish.
Yeah.
They're a UK band. Fuck it. Are they not? They are. But yeah,
I don't know. I'd have to look into it more. But just looking up Cocteau Twins, it says they're a Scottish rock.
Yo, Pills, Thrills, and Bellyaches. If you want to listen to like a rock,
they started in '79. Wow.
So,
Pills,
Thrills, and Bellyaches by Happy Mondays. Happy Mondays slaps. Amazing British group. Primal Scream is also amazing. I think Primal Scream is British. I'm not sure, but like Primal Scream
I'm not sure either, but I really do like Primal Scream.
They just really fucking inspired like that, like just acid house and alternative rock blending and amazingness. And and then there's like that whole other scene of the 90s.
There's all these different scenes, you know.
There's like shit like
we'll be here all day talking about these.
There's like
what do you think are the significance of all these? Like,
it's like
you just want to get into different sorts of cultures and just what's going on, you know, and like
and then once you hit the 2000s, it's like a whole other like side of bands, The Strokes, Interpol, Wilco, like all these other fucking amazing bands, Arcade Fire.
A scene that I like about that is like the early 2000s New York scene. There's like a huge
The Strokes, Interpol,
like
That stuff's all dope.
What's it called? Yes. You know, like
yes is super fucking dope.
What's it called? That scene is like what inspired a lot of like I'd like to say like bedroom pop artists now, like when it comes to the sound. So
especially for me now, a genre that I've been really loving from like the early 2000s is sort of like a dream pop, also like ambient pop, sort of Panchico, Sweet Trip.
Yeah, like for that sound, it's pretty good. That's a pretty good decade.
What band did you say?
Sweet Trip.
Panchico, Sweet Trip.
Yeah. Oh, Sweet Trip's fucking dope. I don't know Panchico though. I've never heard of them.
Panchico, they have this album that I've been listening to nonstop called Death Metal.
Yeah.
And
it's called Death Metal?
It's called Death Metal, yeah.
Cool. It's like equals of Death Metal.
It's all caps in between every letter there's like a
little dot.
Like a less than sign or a greater than sign. Okay. One of those.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I can't tell the difference either. I can't tell.
But going back to that, I think it's a greater than sign, by the way. But going back to the question of when we get older and keeping
will
up
we
with
still
music,
be hip?
will we still be hip with the times?
We'll be
Because
super
it's all
kicking
because
it.
it's overall music. It's just another hobby. Of course, it's
Yeah.
huge, but it's just another hobby. It's a hobby
Right.
that I know that it's going to be a hobby of mine for the rest of my life until the day I die, and after that. But it's for two main
So
reasons
you're
that I
saying
want to
music is a
keep
hobby
up.
for you?
It's a hobby. Yeah, it
Okay.
started off as a hobby,
Mhm.
and it's something that I want to pursue now. But at the end of the day, it's a hobby.
You know,
Um,
I like think about it, and it's like we're of a generation where like streaming is like important, and like
Very important.
streaming is always gonna continue being streaming for now on. It's like back then, like I feel like older people just don't get into newer music because it's like
Exactly.
like they
And
don't
that's one of
fucking
the two
care
reasons.
about
That's one of the two
streaming.
reasons why I want to keep up with music as I
It's like
get
we're
older and older.
exposed to streaming and YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music and all these platforms, so it's like we're always gonna keep like Apple Music to me is the same thing as Netflix. Like I'd rather have Apple Music than a Netflix. It's like
Yeah.
6 million songs compared to a
Yeah.
couple movies. Fuck that shit. I'm going with the songs.
Yeah.
You know.
So
So
you
it's
so
like
you're
I
saying
don't
like
want to
yeah.
I don't want to be in 2040 and then looking at a teenager and being like, "Oh, you listen to this well I listen to
That doesn't matter.
that." And
I
it's
know what you're
like,
saying.
"No,
That
keep
doesn't
up with the
matter. Like
stuff."
keep up
It really
exactly.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because
So
we
like
have that now where our parents and grandparents will listen to Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen and think, "Oh, this is the best song of
Ooh.
all time."
all right.
Sometimes
Hold on. I just want
sometimes
to
I'm
say
scared.
something.
Oh, what's up?
So I like to think of it like I don't know if you guys said this already. Like a lot of people like to watch Netflix. You know, a lot of people.
It's a
Right.
movie that never ends, the music
It's
scene. It's a movie that
it's
never ends.
it's
It's a
the
movie.
same
Yeah.
thing. It's like I sit down and watch a movie the same way I sit down and listen to an album. It's like this is a piece of art. It's a work. It's someone's work that not someone's. You know, there's probably a huge like direction. There's a huge work. Lots of people working on it, and
My
you
hair's
just have to
greasy.
sit down and listen to all of it or what? Huh?
I have to wash it. My hair's greasy. That's why I'm
Feels
playing
like
with
my
it.
hair. Feels like my hair is greasy. I ain't gonna wash it. Fuck it.
Yeah, so you just have to sit down and just listen to it the same way you
Just
sit down
listen
and
to that
watch a
shit.
movie or watch a
Yeah,
TV.
Yeah.
it's
It's
really
like,
just
yo,
whatever path you want to take,
Like
go with
something I
it and
noticed
discover
in
everything you want.
you
something
know
I
what people
noticed in
don't
my friend
realize?
group. What?
What? Like,
No,
well, it's like people like pay $10 a month to like see like couple movies, couple TV shows.
subscription,
Not
right?
not everything, not everything. Bro, Apple Music, you could get a subscription to Apple Music and like you could pretty much listen to everything that like pretty much matters in pop music, and you can
Yeah.
listen to good chunk of jazz and like fucking classical music. Like Apple Music has such like a great catalog of music that you could
Right.
just listen to. It's such a blessing, honestly, that you can just have this huge
A lot of good recommendations.
catalog
on
fucking
To be
music.
honest, it's a
Apple
lot of
Music's
great.
fucking
The
great.
thing is, what I was gonna say, a lot of things that I notice, at least from my experience, is that most of my friends like to listen to music with playlists, and they create their own playlists. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
Albums.
I understand why you
Like
like.
you started doing it like here and there recently.
Yeah, I started doing like it's just putting a bunch of songs that you like together, but.
It's just a fun little
If
thing.
there's another way to listen that I like to listen to music, and it's like I discover an artist or I discover a band, and they have lots of works. They have a whole discography, and they have these projects, these albums that people just you have to sit down, and it was made to listen to for it's a work. It's made.
Yeah, for me, if you were to go on my Spotify, which we kind of just did before the Zoom
we
call,
did.
I just have a bunch of albums saved. I was never one to make a playlist.
We just all
I just
made
listen
albums.
to
I have
music
so
by the
many
album,
albums.
which has always been kind of
Same.
weird, but yeah.
It's just how I do it. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
just
it's
how
like
I do it.
It's just the best way to take in every song and just like kind of like be like, yeah, that's dope. That's
And
dope
some people
music.
be asking me like, oh, how do you get into like so many like all these different artists that nobody's ever heard
It's not
about?
that hard.
It's
The
like
worst thing you can do is stay in one spot. You just gotta keep looking.
lot of
Look
people-
at that other artist we suggest.
a lot of
folder
people are like,
thing.
oh, do you watch like music review YouTubers like Anthony Fantano, or do you
Fuck
go
yeah.
on websites like Rate Your Music? Sure, I do that, but there's
Who's
I
asking
don't
that?
really.
you just have to direct your focus, your attention, and your motivation on these artists.
Yo.
Like if you
Yeah,
find
you
an
just got to
artist you
pay
really
attention to the
like,
scene because I'm not one
pay
who
attention
does the
to the
radio
scene.
music stuff.
Exactly. You're gonna find an
Yeah.
artist you really like, and you're just gonna find out about other artists that have made music with them or other things that they've produced or been on. All these
Yo,
different
can I shout out a couple
whole scene.
things?
Go for it.
Yo, can I shout out a couple things?
Yeah.
Okay. On Instagram, shout out my boy Jazz Wave. He is
Jazz,
like
good
the
guy.
dude who just like put me on everything. Like
Lots of
he would
great
just post
recommendations.
everything. He would post like random shit like 80s groups like the pop group and like listen
Oh
and like
yeah.
put like Phantasma or like Diego put me onto that. Shout out to Diego.
Shout
And
out
then
to
like
you.
or like he would put like fucking like just Japanese music and like amazing R&B music and trap music and just
Right.
every fucking genre and like I feel like that's how fucking Instagram music pages should be. I hate hip hop music
Oh
pages
yeah.
that are just
Sometimes I
hip
just
hop.
see.
Hate
Yeah.
that shit. Shout out Jazzwave. Also, shout out Trash Theory on YouTube. He does amazing videos talking about amazing bands, classic bands, mostly British bands, and fucking super dope. He's like influenced me to get into other shit, and I absolutely love him. Shouts out to Anthony Fantano. Sometimes if
Jazzwave's
he has,
favorite album is a Washington Phillips album, and I really like
Bruh.
that.
dude, that is so dope, and it's just like I don't even get it because I heard it and I was like, this is cool, but like, how can this be your favorite album? But it doesn't matter.
I actually
There
really
you
like
have
that
it.
album. But
There's
It is what it is.
it's so
you know?
subjective. It's like
It
that
is
we
what
like.
it is. It's like
it's like when people like horror camp movies. It's like they're
oh yeah.
terrible movies and but they're hilarious, and it's like, oh, I love them.
What's that other dude? Oh, yo, shout out Polyphonic. Shout out fucking Sideways. Shout out Sideways is amazing. If you want to learn more about like soundtracks, soundtracks, music theory, just like overall like pop music ideas and like theories and just Sideways.
I
Tied in
think
the
the
Shadows.
only
It's fucking awesome.
like music
up on
reviewer
top.
guy I follow on like Instagram or anything is Jazzwave. I follow Anthony Fantano on Instagram, but I don't watch his videos at all.
Yeah, there's so many outlets into getting into music.
There's so
that,
many outlets. It's just
that,
like for me,
just
it was
really-
just listening to that suggested
type
area.
shit like I don't know, like Instagram, fuck it, like I don't know, like
Instagram's
growing
a
up
huge
watch
area.
Mojo was huge for me when I was like in middle school.
They
Oh
got
Like,
yeah,
I
you
used to
said
like
that.
We got the basics.
like bro, I used to watch like best like 90s alternative, best hardcore punk, best Britpop, best classic rock, best
Do they have that?
metal
That's
band.
surprising. Cool. That's cool.
Yeah, they
didn't
had
know they
like
had that.
best grunge bands, best alternative bands of the 80s, best alternative 90s bands of the 90s, 2000s, like all this dope shit. And like that
That
at
is
a
dope.
young age like left a pretty dope impression on me that like I was into like Led Zeppelin in the Clash and like Iggy Pop and the Stooges and the Stone Roses and the Smiths and REM and like I knew all of this shit by like 13 and like I was fucking with Oasis and Gorillaz and all that dope shit. Like I was just
I
chilling
listened to
off of
REM
that.
recently. That was a
REM is
stereotype.
amazing. Like
love
REM is
REM.
another amazing early alternative band, American. I feel like it's important to say whether a band's British or American. I don't know why. It's just good to decipher them. It's good to acknowledge.
I mean, the Brits
the
definitely
country.
did so much for music.
When I
So
got into Talking Heads, I thought they were British. Not even gonna lie, they sound kind of
so
British.
just
They do sound kind of British.
so just
I think I thought the exact same thing, as a matter of fact.
I just want to I want to like end it off with us sharing off like our favorite artists, or at least some artists that we're listening to right now that we really like. So Eric,
I'll just share my favorites of all time.
Yo, okay.
That's
Yeah,
what
we'll
I'll
say my
do.
name first. So, okay.
give us like a top
think-
5, top 10.
All my friends know me
Yeah.
for this, but just like Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys is like my all-time favorite album.
Okay,
I think it's fucking great.
give us artists. So.
Dude, I absolutely love Brockhampton. Like, I'm a huge Brockhampton fan. Saw them with Leo. Dopest
Yeah,
concert
that was
I've ever been
awesome.
to. I
was
fucking
really
love
fun.
Saturation too. I love Random Access Memories by Daft Punk. That album is just like essential for me. I love Husker Du. I love fucking Dinosaur Jr. and Sonic Youth and all those awesome dope bands. And Meat is
Okay.
Murder by the Smiths is my favorite Smiths band.
Okay.
And watch Avatar: Last Airbender.
Okay.
Gotta-
Leo,
gotta
you
end
wanna
it off
give us a
with
top
that.
My favorite artists, I have like a little thing because I posted on my Instagram. My favorite artists are Stevie Wonder, Joy Division, Charles Mingus, Outkast, Miles Davis, Mazzy Star, Raekwon, Black Flag,
Oh, I
Mojave
love Black
3,
Flag.
and Ennio Morricone. Rest in
Yeah.
peace, Ennio Morricone. And then my
Yeah,
favorite
shout out-
albums are Songs in the Key of
Shout out
Life.
Ennio Morricone.
Yeah, dude, rest in
Shout out.
peace.
Shout out.
One of the
Fucking
best
shout out Good Bad the Ugly.
orchestrators of all time, for sure.
Fucking shit.
My favorite album, Songs in the Key of Life, Unknown Pleasures, Black Saint, Sinner Lady,
out.
Roundabout Midnight by Miles Davis,
Yes.
Appointment Night by Outkast,
Yes.
Only Built for Cuban Links by Raekwon,
Oh yes.
Okay.
These are all.
and Nervous Breakdown by Black Flag.
These are all the fucking.
And
amazing
for me,
albums.
Oh,
I
and
just
one more.
wanna
The
give-
score of Once Upon a Time in America by Ennio Morricone.
Okay. And for me, I don't want to give a huge list, but I guess if we have a next podcast, I'll start with that. Right now, I just want to really recommend this one album that's been with me since freshman year. I really recommend In Rainbows by Radiohead.
Yes.
Oh, that's
an
one. That's
amazing
another one of my
listen.
favorite albums.
It's an amazing listen, track by track. You're definitely gonna put a smile on your face.
Weird Fishes / Arpeggi is
That
one.
is my
It's
favorite
in my
song of
top
all time.
3
That is the
favorite
best
So
songs of
you
all
guys
time.
check that out. I'll leave you
That's the best
off with
Radiohead
that.
album.
And thank you guys. It's a great podcast.
Bye guys.
Bye guys.
Good night, guys.
Bye 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 bye.